What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Did you know Britain was having race riots? Yeah, a bunch of men are having race riots. But the only thing that makes them different from the other Europeans that's in all the other colonies is that they're having race riots in their homeland, right? They're upset that people that don't look like them are coming in and taking their jobs. So they're destroying their communities. They're destroying their own shops. You know, they're doing the same thing that white folks in America say black folks are doing when we're rioting, when we're being disenfranchised or treated like trash or whatnot. But when white people do it, it's okay. When white people riot and when they tear shit up, it doesn't make the news because it's okay when they do it. But don't let a brown person tear something up. Oh my God, look at those terrorists destroying America. See, they're clearly anti-American because they're going against one political party that I support. Oh my God. Like, the double standard is insane. But yeah, there's race riots happening in the UK. But here's the problem. There's not enough of you Europeans in the UK to have an effective riot. Because when all you guys gather in one place, that's all of y'all. Ain't nothing y'all can do. Y'all can ride all day long. Before you know it's going to be about 5 of y'all outside at the Chick-fil-A talking about you boycott. They don't need you. They forgot you was there. Okay? Like, this is the truth. Like, the boycotting of Europe is all for nothing. There's nothing anybody's going to do for those people. Because all the rich people don't care. They're not hiring them Europeans. They're not hiring them white Europeans. Why? Because they want a living wage? You crazy? They want health care and benefit? You must be out your mind. You know what capitalism is? Capitalism don't got time to be paying you a living wage, caring about your life and well-being of your family, your daughter and your son and your wife. They don't give a fuck about what makes you think capitalism cares about any of that shit. They're about this profit, all right? And if you don't factor into that profit, you got to go. And guess who factors into that profit? Desperate people from other countries that those same corporations that you expect to pay you a living wage. Those companies that went and exploited other countries, ruined their societies and cultures, and assassinated their presidents in order to be able to siphon out resources from their countries on pennies on the dollar in order to sell you a product at a discount so you won't complain about paying too much for something. You part of the problem just because you're a consumer, right? You're consuming yourself, all right, into oblivion. That's why you can't get no job. I'm going to go hire this Filipino to do it. Why would I hire you, English American who wants a living wage? I'm going to hire this Filipino who's desperate because I made their country desperate. Me and my peoples made their country desperate over investing in thousands and thousands and thousands of lives over hundreds of years, all right, to steal their shit and to make their people so desperate that they will come here and work for dirt cheap while you're so desperate, but no one is willing to hire you because you're not willing to work for dirt cheap. Anyway, you guys say what you think about this in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So you don't know why the UK seems to have spent the last 2 weeks enjoying a twin pack of race riots, but you don't want to look like a thicky dum-dum in front of all your mates. Here's a quick rundown to help you understand why these gentle giants have taken a break from beating up their girlfriends to help keep Britain's streets safe by burning those streets to the fucking ground. Now, the race riots in question were caused by the murder of 18-year-old Henry Novak in Southampton in 2025 by stabby psycho Vikram Digwa, and the attempted murder of a man called Stephen Ogilvie in Belfast last Monday by stabby psycho Hadi Alodin. Now, no points for guessing that the two stabby psychos in question are not white. Hence, in Southampton, a far-right group called the Southampton Patriots got the wrong address for Vikram Digwa's family home and instead terrorised a complete randomer's semi-detached for 2.5 hours. Lovely red stripes, sir. I like my patriotism served with a blood alcohol level of how the fuck is he still standing up as well. And in Belfast, gangs of men in balaclavas committed a pogrom by setting fire to the homes of immigrants and ethnic minorities. Now, I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hat twat, but I've identified some dots that I'm going to join together with string until they create stringy portraits of these four cunts because these race riots are part of a strategy. Stay with me. During the race riots in Southampton, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Pissed-His-Pants, took a break from looking like an AI-generated image of what a butterbean would look like if it was a human being to post on X that he thought Henry Novak was killed because of an invasion of migrants into the UK. Similarly, half-man, half-K-hole Elon Musk posted on X that the Belfast riots were a result of uncontrolled immigration, even though according to the 2021 census, Northern Ireland was 97% white. Now, you might remember that in December last year, the Trump administration published a new national security strategy. Stay with me. Contained within this new national security strategy was a promise to cultivate resistance in Europe to ensure that America remains the greatest and most successful nation in human history. The strategy then went on to say that the most effective way of doing this was to support Europe's far-right movements. Enter far-right lunatic Tommy Robinson. Real name, total fucking cunt. who was unbanned from X by Elon Musk in 2024 and is bankrolled by 2 US tech billionaires who are close to Donald Trump. Robert Shillman, who's a former board member of the Friends of the Israeli Defense Forces who bought Tommy Robinson his new teeth, and Robert Mercer, who bankrolled Brexit and set up Breitbart News, the alt-right news website that's widely seen as having created the MAGA cult. Meanwhile, Tweedy gonad Nigel Farage said that the British people should respond to Henry Novak's murder with cold rage. Now, all of this comes at a great time for Nigel, who's currently being investigated for accepting £5 million from his own tech billionaire, a man called Christopher Harborne. Nigel's also shitting his pants because his party, Reform UK, is currently losing votes to Restore UK, a party that's even more right-wing and led by a man called Rupert Lowe, who Elon Musk said would make a better Prime Minister than Nigel Farage. So what the fuck's going on here then? Answer: a group of men who are funded by tech billionaires have exploited 2 tragedies to openly call for race war on the streets of Great Britain, which apparently is all part of a US strategy for world domination. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know.
Last night, the UK experienced yet more race riots. That is the only word to describe what happened. Because in Glasgow, Scotland, non-white people were beaten on the streets by angry mobs simply because they were not white. In Belfast, Northern Ireland, immigrants and refugees had their homes set on fire by those very same mobs. And yet the political and media elite, who have had so much to say about banning actual peaceful protests and the alleged anti-Semitism crisis, issue nothing more than weak and mealy-mouthed statements urging calm. It could not be more obvious that the establishment only cares about racism and bigotry when they can use it to score points and to prevent actual radical change. That is why they pretend that pro-Palestine protests are anti-Semitic. That is why they do everything in their power to link every single anti-Semitic attack to pro-Palestine protests. Yet when it comes to these outrageous race riots, they don't talk about the decades of bile that has been spewed out by both media and political elites against non-white people, because it's not politically useful. They love using refugees, immigrants, and non-white people as political pawns.
Hey, so real quick, crazy thing, there are race riots happening in Belfast. Apparently, a Sudanese man horribly attacked a white man. That Sudanese man has been arrested. He's been charged. He will likely go to jail forever. Should be a done deal, right? One guy attacked another guy. They caught the guy. No. Belfast just had to cancel the West End tour of the Broadway musical Mean Girls because the girl playing Regina George is black, and they're afraid that she would be attacked during the show. This is Vivian Panka, and she said that she hasn't been able to leave her house. She's scared. Rioters have taken to the street and are lighting the homes of black folks on fire while their children are inside. Folks who had nothing to do with the initial attack even, of course. But it's not really getting any attention because Donald Trump is going back and forth on what he's going to do with Iran. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is seeming to encourage these race riots in Belfast. This is also the second summer in a row that there are race riots in Ireland. Last summer, race riots were triggered after 2 Roma teenagers were accused of sexually assaulting a white girl. And the man who became a trillionaire today, encouraging this. So
I just want to talk briefly about what's been happening in Ireland and across the UK. Obviously, I feel very much for the chap who was attacked in Ireland. Of course I do. However, what happened afterwards, I mean, it's almost medieval. It really is. Burning innocent people, women and children, out of their houses. The same men that claim to want to protect women and children are the same men who are burning them out of their houses. You are not protecting women and children. How do you think your children feel when they see the images of houses burning down? How do you think that provides them with a feeling of safety? It doesn't. And that anger and that hate is, I mean, it's unbelievable. And no, there is absolutely zero justification for any of the rioting, any of the anger and the hate that we see on the streets, because it's pure racism. Because the exact same crimes that you are outraged about also happen by white people. Yet when they happen by white people, there is silence, nothing. So it is racism. And I, as many people do, the majority do, yeah, you are not the majority, you are the minority. The majority of us feel so sad that Great Britain, which used to be a wonderful, diverse and welcoming country, is being like destroyed by far-right hate. You are not protecting your women and children.
In the aftermath of the race riots, both here in Glasgow and more significantly over in Belfast over the last week and weekend, a prevailing and recurring sentiment I've heard shared by both politicians and other figures in the public space, content creators, influencers, journalists, is this idea of this isn't us. That's not the real Scotland. These people don't represent us. Look around, open your eyes. Scotland, you can say, well, Scotland always votes for centre-left parties in the SNP, yeah, but look at the actual voter turnouts. Doesn't mean that everyone's voting this way. A lot of people don't vote, but a lot of people still live here and very much have an active presence in sharing their politics, whether or not they actually realise it and think of it that way. Racism, xenophobia, bigotry, sectarianism, these are things that are very much still a core part of Scottish cultural identity, whether we want to admit it or not. This is not a problem that's been going away overnight. And if anything, since the Troubles, I would argue it's beginning to get worse again. I think you could argue there was maybe a dip in it in the early 2000s, but now it's really becoming much more of a problem, aided in no small part by Elon Musk and all these crypto-fascist billionaires, well, trillionaire now, stoking the hatred and fomenting this type of violence that is designed to separate and divide the working class, make no mistake about that. And I think about this at the same time as the World Cup kicks off, while Scottish fans, specifically the Tartan Army, Scotland's international away support, is away supporting the team in cities like Boston and getting a pretty positive reception from Americans because, you know, they're polite, they're considerate, they're loud and rowdy, yeah, sure, but they're not arseholes at the end of the day, you know. And I can't help but think that that view of Scottish people is the sanitised view. It's not the real one. In the same way that an American might point to Donald Trump and say, that does not represent us. A lot of people voted for him, and a lot of the things that he's stirring up and saying are actually quite widely held beliefs among huge portions of the electorate. The same goes for Scotland. These bigoted, racist, and ultimately fascistic views are very widely and very commonly held, even very quietly by seemingly quite normal people. It just so happens now that we're seeing spikes and seeing fascists more emboldened and revealing themselves. So, all that to say, it is no surprise to me to see people throwing Nazi salutes in Buchanan Street in Glasgow and pogroms being undertaken in Belfast. If you open your eyes, you will see that this problem has been here for a long time and we need to work on rooting out this fascism at its source. So what's the solution? For me, the solution's pretty straightforward. It begins and ends with education. If you look at the poorest, deprived areas, both economically and in terms of access to education, both in terms of how often do people go to school, how likely are people to go to college, go to university. There is a direct correlation between that and these fascistic outcomes, these points of view that are held by people that are very anti-immigration. People are going to call me classist for saying this, but all I'm doing is observing reality. The reality is that when people are not educated and exposed to a wider array of cultural ideas and their own presumptions are not challenged, it's very easy for their worldviews to then be hijacked by actual fascists, people like Elon Musk, to foment the hatred that we have talked about. It begins and ends at education. In the same way that poverty is the number one indicator of criminality, it's not race or any other, biological or inherently genetic disposition. It's poverty. Poverty being the number one indicator of crime, it is also the number one indicator of lack of education, and as a result, fascism.
I don't feel that we are in a position where we can really claim that this is purely about immigration anymore, because nobody, including during the Farage riots, nobody's checking paperwork. Nobody's saying, oh, well, your grandfather came over then, so you're all right. It's the new guys. It's, hey, you're black, you're brown, let's get you. You can go and play that whole I'm the good immigrant thing or I'm the good black or brown person thing all you want. It will only be a matter of time before it's you. Just like with all of these black and brown people that go and support people like Kemi Badenoch, Suella Braverman, the Reform Party and all of that. And what's happened? The Restore Party shows up and now they're talking about remigration, something which we've seen on the continent of Europe. Now it's in Britain. Now it's getting out there. Now it's growing. And bit by bit, it's a bit of a reminder of it's not how good you are. It's not if you play for the England football team. It's not about if you're a professional or if you've got a degree or any of that type of stuff. It's you. Your presence here is the problem. They don't like you being here. And quite frankly, they don't even really like you being alive.
Police Scotland have issued a statement confirming that last night 3 people were attacked in Glasgow because of their skin colour. Demonstrations took place in Scotland last night following an attack on Monday in Belfast. A man who was originally from Scotland was attacked in Belfast on Monday night by a 30-year-old Sudanese man. Since this happened, there have been demonstrations across Scotland, England and Northern Ireland. Last night there was demonstrations in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Ayr and Aberdeen. Police Scotland have now confirmed that 3 members of the public were injured last night, and the Chief Constable has said they were attacked because of the colour of their skin. They also added that 2 police officers were also injured in Glasgow last night. In Glasgow, protesters held signs saying "We will not submit." They were calling for the end of mass migration. They were chanting "Send them home." At the other demonstrations across the country, there were no arrests made, Police Scotland has confirmed.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the black community, by the white community, and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. And it is an honor, actually, that they endorsed Dr. Martin Luther King and were against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's actually an honor.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. That if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.